Hey you all, I'm so hyped to fellow dressmakers. You're welcome to another interesting tutorial. My name is Confidence. In this video, I'll be showing you how to make this beautiful female pant with a zipper fly, how to go about your skate hook, and how to fix your fly zipper to have something as neat as this. I'll also be showing you how to go about this beautiful hem. Can you see that? This turn up hem like this. So if you're interested in learning how I came up with all of this, make sure you watch this video to the very end. And let's get right into it.
Hello, you don't even know my name, but I am happy you came by.
I'll be using this Ankara fabric for this tutorial. Do well to use any fabric of choice. And if you're using Ankara, you will need at least 1 to 2 years depending on your size. I used roughly a trouser length for this person because she's quite big. You will also be needing your zipper and also your skirt hook. And for the zipper, I want to advise that you use a zipper like this, that the head is big like this. Instead of that, you can use this smaller one, and you can also use this one, but make sure that the head is slim and not as wide as the green one. Instead of using that green one, I will even use this pink one for this particular tutorial. So I'll go ahead and fold the fabric and we'll start taking the measurements. And here my fabric is beautifully folded. For you to know how to fold your fabric so you don't waste it, you just divide your hip measurement by 4 plus extra 4 to 5 inches depending on your size. Okay, so I divided her hip by 4 plus extra 5 inches, and that's what I have here. Now let's talk about the measurement I will be needing for this. Her waist measurement is 38, her hip is 52, her thigh 34, the length is 20, and the circumference of the length is 27. Ignore the 17 you're seeing here. I actually made it 32 anyway because she doesn't want it too tight on that length size. So I'm going to minus, I'll be using 2 inches for the band, but I'll minus 1.5 while cutting, so that I'll use the other half as the joining allowance. So I'll minus the 1.5, get the length plus extra 3 inches for the hemming allowance. Go ahead and add your desired allowance. If not that I'm managing this fabric, I would have added 5 inches for the hemming allowance because I like it when the turn up is kind of bold and not small. But what I have after all of this is still okay. Okay, so on the 1.5, I would mark it to the length, which is 20 plus extra 3 to 4 inches for that turn up. Okay, so now minus the 1.5 again on this our waistline and go down to the hip line of 10 inches. I'll mark it on this other side just to have a straight line. Then from that point, you're going to divide your hip measurement by 4 plus extra 1 inch. All right, just because you will be joining something to the waist so it doesn't shorten the measurement. That's why I'm adding the 1 inch. This is not a high-waisted pant. Okay, and with that I have the waist, hip, and crotch line. I'll come to the waistline and take the hip measurement divided by 4 plus extra 1 inch. I'll come to this crotch line and also take the same measurement, the hip measurement divided by 4 plus extra 1 inch. Then I will just roll it out like so. Then I will now take the actual waist measurement, which is 38 divided by 4 plus extra 1 inch. All right, you can do 1.5 if you want. Then I'll connect it from that point to the hip line, just like this. The next thing I'll do now is to come on this crotch line. I'll go in ½ inch. If this is a pattern paper, just go in 1 inch from that point. Then I'll connect from the hip to that point just to have this shape here. Can you see that? Just blend, blend, blend. The shape you have on your fabric is what you actually have by the time you're done making your outfit. Now from that ½ inch, I'll take the thigh measurement divided by 2 plus extra ½ inch. Exactly the thigh measurement divided by 2 plus extra ½ inch allowance. Then I'm going to give it this curve here. Make sure it's not too curvy on this point. Next, I'll measure what I have in the whole of this point from the thigh measurement all the way to this folded part of the fabric and divide it by 2. I'll go to the hemline and do the same thing. Make sure what I have on the thigh area is what I have at the hem, then I will divide it by 2, and that's to get the center point of this pant. Then I'll just roll it out. I won't be doing that all the way to the waistline because I do not need it. Now, the next thing we're going to take is the circumference of the length, okay? And to do that, I'm going to divide it by 2. Like I said before, I used 32 inches. That means I'll be having 8 inches on both sides of this line. So I'll place 8 inches on that midpoint line, mark it on the other end, and mark 16 inches on this end. Can you see that? But I should be doing this on the length of this pant and not on the sewing allowance. So I added 3 inches as the hemming allowance. I will just go ahead and come up 3 inches and then roll it out like so. Then I'm going to repeat the same thing I did earlier. Place 8 inches on the midpoint line, mark it on the other end, and mark 16 inches on this end. Okay, so I'll go ahead and connect from the thigh measurement to that point and connect this one just the same way you see me doing it. Now the next thing I'll do is to come on here and go in by ½ inch. If I'm drafting on a pattern paper, I'll do 1 inch because I'll still be adding sewing allowance, and I'll slant it to the waistline like that. This is optional anyway, but because I'm not adding that to this, I just want to eliminate any unnecessary fold around the tummy area. Then what you see me do there is I added ½ inch zipper allowance. Then I will measure from that slanted line up to where I want the zipper to stop. Then I'll add the zipper allowance again of 1.5. You can do 2 inches, but I don't like it when zipper allowance is too much. So 1.5 works for what I'm going for. Then I'll just blend it into the crotch depth just like this. I hope you can see that. Do well to check that you have the same thing you have on the slanted line on that zipper allowance extension. Then to cut, what I'm going to do is to fold this zipper allowance in this way. Okay, just go ahead and pick it on the full length, that's the length of this pant, and fold in the zipper allowance that way. Then you're going to cut out what you have here. Watch where and how I'm cutting this out so you don't make any mistake. So folding the hemming allowance in before cutting like this will make it not to have any shortage by the time you're folding the hem. I'll keep this aside and then fold another fabric, then place this one on it like so, and you can see that this back fold is bigger than what we folded for the front part. What I'm going to do is to extend this crotch line, then I'll get the angle 45 or angle 90 of this center part, this crotch depth. I'll extend it like that. And I will also extend this upper part this way. Okay, so make sure you have a space on the upper part of the waist part. Then you're going to fold in the zipper allowance because you do not need it for the back. Okay, so fold it the same way you see me do it. Then on this crotch extension, I'm going to extend the back crotch by 3 inches. Another thing you can do is to divide your hip measurement by 10 and then start from this line that you see my hand on, okay? And then measure it plus extra 1 to 2 inches. So when I did that, it's actually the same thing with what I have here. Extending with 3 inches or dividing your hip measurement by 10 and adding extra 1 to 2 inches. It gives the same result. Okay, then I'm going to follow the same shape I have on this length and the hem part and add 2.5. You can also do 2 inches, but the 2.5 will be for joining allowance too. Then on the clutch depth, I'm going to do 2.5 on that point for the back. Okay, you can also do 3 inches, but I checked and I have the right allowance for the butt here, so there's no point adding extra to the crotch depth. So I'm going to connect it, just curve it this same way. This way you have a space for the butt, and by the time the person wears it, it won't be going inside the butt. Then I'll extend this part too by 1.5, but I did 2 inches because of joining allowance. 2 inches I noticed for myself that is usually up on the back, and I don't like it that way, so I usually add just 1.5. Then the other ½ inch will be joining allowance. and then I'll just cut it out just the same way you see me doing it. And right after cutting, this is what it looks like. I checked what I have here, and like I said before, I used about a trouser length that is 45 inches for this person. You know that her hip is 52, so if you're on a smaller size, you can use smaller amount of fabric. The next thing I like to do is to stabilize the crotch area because it might stretch and that might cause a tear. So I stabilize with a stay, just place it on it like this. I'm cutting this single because I already have a curve here and I don't want to waste this a stay. You know how it is in our country these days. So I'll just go ahead and cut out like a facing just this same way, and after cutting it, I'll notch the upper part, then use it to trace out the second one. I would repeat the same thing for the front, then iron all of it just to stabilize that point. This way it won't stretch and it will not tear. So after doing all of that, this is what I have. I have the two pieces for the back, I have the pieces for the front, and I also cut out the band of 2 inches afterwards. So I cut out like 5 inches, then I fold it on one end and then fold it to have a allowance, joining allowance on the other end. And I use paper stay for the band and a stay for the crotch area. So I'll start with the front, take out the two pieces like this, then you're going to join it from this that part where the zipper stop to have something like this. Just go ahead and join it. You can also run a loose stitch from the top to where the zipper would stop, and then you tighten the stitches and close it to the other end. Then you fold the zipper allowance, but I won't be doing that. So what I'm going to do is to take another fabric this same way. I'll fold it to cut out the zipper fly. Okay, so you can cut it straight or you can cut it curvy depending on what you want. On the fabric or on the pants, I have about 1.5. Let me just highlight it so that we can see it clearer. So I have 1.5 here. Then when I'm cutting the fly, I'll be having at least 2 inches. Okay, so you can do 2.5 so that by the time you interlock the edge, you have your 2 inches left. But here I did just 2 inches. Like I said before, I don't like it when there is so much allowance on the zipper area. Then like I said before, you can just cut it straight or just give it a slant curve. Measure from the waist to where the zipper will stop. Then you're going to add like 1 to 1.5 to that, to this fly, zipper fly. Okay, so I'm adding 1.5 to mine. Then I'll just go ahead and cut it out. I don't want the original mouth of the Ankara to be part of it, so you see what I did there. After cutting, I'll go ahead and press paper stay on it just to stabilize it and give it a little structure. And this is what it looks like after I was done. Okay, we'll keep this aside now. Then on this zipper allowance here, I'm going to cut off, just leave about ½ inch joining allowance on this particular part. By the time I open the fabric, you see that this part will be on the left leg. Okay, it's going to be on the left side of her body. So it is said that for women, the zip opening should be on the left, and for men it's supposed to be on the right. But for what I'm doing today, the opening will be on the right, while the left will contain the zipper fly. It's still okay anyway, but if you're following the rule, just make sure the opening for the women is on the left. So I'm going to place the zipper like this on that part that I cut out, just the same way. Then I'm going to just join it. I personally like to stitch this part with the zipper fly just once so that I don't waste my time. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to go ahead and fix the zipper on this side. Then I will come back to show you how to go about the zipper fly. And this is what it looks like after fixing the zipper on that side. You can see how neat it is. Now you're going to take the zipper fly, just place your zipper like this, then you take the fly and place the zipper on it like so. The essence of the zipper fly is to just cover the zipper. There's nothing much. For most people, they will just go ahead and top stitch on this part, but I don't like doing that. I just go ahead and follow the same stitch I already have here and join the zipper with the zipper fly. Okay, but if it's easier for you, just go ahead and top stitch on it like this. What matters is that you have your fly there and it covers the zipper. But I just like stitching, following the same shape I already have, to have something as neat as this. Can you see that? And you can see that the zipper fly is doing its work, covering the zipper, so that by the time you turn it to the wrong side, you won't see the zipper there. And you have this part to interlock so that it will be very neat. Okay, just go ahead and interlock that point and every other part of your band that needs to interlock. The next thing you're going to do is to take this side and you're going to fold like half inch. We added 1.5, right? You can fold half inch or about 0.75. Then if your zipper is longer than this, just zip it upward so that the head won't disturb you. Then you're going to place this one over on it like this, just so you see clearly what you're going for. Okay, so you can see that it overlaps now. Then I'll go ahead and flip it to the wrong side like this. Okay, just go ahead and flip it like this. Then I'm going to stitch the fabric and the zipper together. Make sure you're on the flyer is away from whatever you're going to stitch now. Okay, you stitch on the zipper. Don't worry if it's not getting to the zipper teeth. Just stitch about half inch on the fabric. Even if it's on the tip of the zipper, the edge of the zipper, just go ahead and stitch it. What matters is that you maintain the half inch you're stitching on the fabric. Maintain the half inch from down to the up, and also make sure that the waistline of your pant, that they are matching up by the time you're done. So I'll do that to have something like this. Can you see that? And you can see that I maintain the half inch stitching allowance I started with. Make sure it's straight on your part so that it's not going to affect the zipper fly. The next thing I'm going to do is to start with this fold I have here. Maintain the fold like this. Then I'll place it on the other part. Then I'll go ahead and iron it out to have something as smooth and seamless, just like this. Can you see that? Now, the very next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and give it that fly shape, that zipper fly shape. Give it any shape that you want. But if you want to do the regular, go ahead and do it. Just make sure you start from where the zipper stops. Okay, then you're going to give it any shape that you want, and then you're also going to make sure that this stitch is going to be on the zipper too. I'm trying to make it straight, then the end will be kind of curvy. So I'll go to my sewing machine now and stitch on this line that I have here. Stitch like this, then you stop. Okay, then you turn it to the wrong side and take out the zipper fly. You can just hide it. Okay, then you're going to continue stitching until you get to this end, and right after that, this is what I have. You cannot see the stitches, but it's very nice. So what I'll do next is to go ahead and take the back pieces. I'll go ahead and join it on the crotch line. Then when I'm done, I will open it up. You can just go ahead and iron on that seam just to make it flat. I will open it up and place it right side facing right side on the front. Then I'm going to join it on the side. Okay, you can decide to do your measurement again to be sure that it's right, or if you just shape with half inch. I'll also join this inseam part, the pant inseam, like this. You can see how I'm placing the sewing allowance I have on that point, going opposite direction. So you can decide to iron before doing all of this, or iron after stitching this side if you want. What matters is that you ironed. And like I said before, go ahead and do your measurement to see if you'll be needing to shape with 1 inch or just half inch. And for my own case, I'll just be stitching with half inch. So I'm done doing that. As you can see, I started with 1 inch on the waistline because that's the allowance there, and on the hip half inch, and I also joined the inseam. The next thing I'm going to do now is to work on the band. So take the band, then you're going to just fold it like this. Make sure the center, the part that you ironed out as the center of this band, where you fold the band, you hold it on that point, then you're going to stitch with half inch. And after that, I'll then trim off the excess that I have here, excess allowance, turn it to the right side, Then I'm going to start with this part that has the zipper fly, and also on the band I'll stitch on the part that has the allowance, the part I added stitching allowance on the band, not the folded part. Okay, make sure that the center part of the band where you joined is on the edge of the pant like that, and then you're going to join it to come out to this end. Here you should have at least 2 inches extension on this end. I have exactly 2 inches, which means by the time I'm done joining, closing this edge now, I'll have about 1.5 or 1.75. So this is the whole length of the Ankara, 45 inches, and this is what it gives me. I'll go ahead and stitch it here now. Okay, making sure that I still maintain the center of the band where I folded it. I hope you understand. Then I'll turn it to the right side, then come to this end again, which has the zipper fly. Okay, just go ahead and join it like your skirt band. Fold in the allowance into the band, the joining allowance into the band, then you're going to stitch exactly on this seam line. Okay, just go ahead and stitch on top, stitch on in the middle of that seam that you already have there. This seam line, as you can see, stitch on it all the way around to have something as neat. By the time you are done, you won't even know that there's any stitch there. So go ahead and do it that way to have a very neat finishing. When you turn it to the wrong side, it's going to look like this. That's the only way you know that it was actually stitched on. Now for the turn up, for the hem, I'm going to fold it half inch like this. Then I'm going to fold it to the added allowance, that 3 inches I added. Just fold it like this. At the end of the day, I think I have about 2.5 and not that exactly that 3 inches. So fold it like this. When I measured it, I have the 2.5, just like I said. That means actually it's the 3 inches. Then you're going to stitch it all around to have this. By the time you're done stitching and ironing, you should have this. Then now you're going to fold it in like this. Fold it going to the up, and you should have at least half inch from this end. Can you see that? From the inside, you should have at least half inch. Then you're going to fold it like that, maintaining the same shape or the same measurement all around. And after that, you're going to iron it very well. Please do it to iron, but if you want to iron after doing the next step, it's fine. So do it like that. I already did this one, and you can see how neat it is. Can you see that? So what you're going to do is to stitch. You see this side seam, stitch first on that, stitch on the inseam, then you're going to randomly stitch, or you can just tack if you want, but then you're going to stitch straight following the same seam line that you have on the side and on the inseam of the pant. Then you randomly tack or back stitch about 5 inches space from the previous stitch or tack, and that's it. Then you're going to fix the hook, measure your waist again, and I measured and I have exactly 19 inches, which is the 38 inches our waist line. So you're going to fold, mark where you want the distance to be, the eye of the hook to be, mark it like this. Then you fold the band just so you mark the two together. Can you see what I did? Then you're going to take the hook, the eye is going to be on this point, and then the hook is going to be here. It has holes where you can tack. This one has 3 holes, while this one has 2. Then you're going to tack it very neatly, and while tacking this part, make sure the stitches or the tacking is not coming on the outside. Just stitch it very neatly so that the thread won't be coming out to the other end. But the eye part, you can just stitch it anyhow. And that's it for this tutorial. I hope you gained something. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll see you on my next one. Be good. Bye.